Good morning, students. We have just completed the topic gravitation and we have solved number of numerical problems also. Okay, please solve all the problems from your exercise and from various references. Okay, reference books and the internet. Okay. Now we are going to the second part of physics. In the second part of physics, the first topic that we are coming across is the mechanical properties of solids, then followed by properties of fluids. So in general, it is the properties of matter. The main unit what we are going to discuss now is properties of matter. In that, the first topic is mechanical properties of solids. Okay, we have learned in the topic about rigid bodies, rotational motion of rigid bodies, and we have defined what is rigid body, right? A rigid body is the one which is having fixed size and shape and which doesn't change its shape or size so easily after applying the external force. A rigid body is the one which has a definite shape and size which doesn't change its shape when it is applied by ordinary forces. This is how we define what is a rigid body. But when you think in reality, even if it is a steel bar or steel rod, when certain external force is applied on that steel rod or steel bar, it undergoes a deformation, it undergoes a bend. I think it is a common experience. So, even if it is a rigid body, under external forces, the rigid body undergoes certain amount of change in its shape. So, we are learning about these properties. In reality, we know that metals are rigid bodies, metals are hard solids, metals are hard solids and they are rigid bodies. But metals can be elongated, metals can be stretched, metals can be deformed. Okay, so we conclude that there is no perfect rigid body in the nature. Under external forces, there is going to be certain amount of change in its shape. So we are learning about that particular property of undergoing change in its shape. Now there are solids when under external force they regain their shape. For example, we know about the spring. When the spring is loaded with certain weight, the spring elongates. The moment we take out that load, the spring regains its original size, original shape within its limit. I am speaking about spring within its limit. When we load it with certain weight, the spring regains its shape. Similarly, even when we deal with the solids, when external load is applied or when external force is applied on these solids, there is going to be certain amount of change in their length, change in their shape, change in their size. When the external load is taken out, when the external force is taken out, again such solids will regain their property. So we are discussing about this important property of regaining the shape after the external load or after the external force is removed. This property is called as elasticity. So first point is there is no perfect rigid body in the nature. When certain external force is applied, on a hard solid, hard solid which we call as rigid body. On a hard solid, like what we call as rigid body, there is sudden change in its shape or size. So we also know that metals, being hard solids, can be elongated. Or stretched. Or can be beaten into thin sheets. So this is called malleability and ductility. So this is what we call as malleability and ductility. Can be elongated or can be beaten into thin sheets. So these are all important properties of hard solids like metals. When a hard solid is under external force, there will be slight change in its shape or size, but on removal of external force, the body regains its original shape or size. This property we are learning in detail. This property is called elasticity. Now you can define what is elasticity. The property of a solid of regaining its original shape or size after the removal of external force is called as elasticity. This property of regaining, you can just conclude the property of regaining the original size or shape after the removal of external force. After the removal of external force is called elasticity. So we can say metals are highly elastic. This is our quite common experience. We sit on these metal benches hours together. When we sit 3 together on a bench or 2 together on a bench, that moment when we are sitting, the seat where we are sitting will be slightly deformed. When we get up from the place, again the sheet will be regaining its shape. That's why we say that metals are highly elastic. Although these metals are rigid body, but under the external force, they deform to certain extent. And again, after the removal of external force or external load, the body regains its original shape or original size, just like a spring. So this property is called as elasticity. So we can conclude that solids, especially metals, are highly elastic in nature. So metals are called as elastic bodies. Then there is another class of materials like putty or wet mud. If we just apply certain force, permanently it undergoes change in its shape. You must have made certain models with putty, right? Or mud pots are being made with the help of external forces, right? Wet mud or putty can be easily changed into any shape. So such bodies are not elastic. They cannot regain their shape after the removal of external force, and such bodies are called as plastic bodies. Exactly opposite to this property, that property is called as plasticity. So we have learned two quantities now. One is elasticity. Metals are highly elastic bodies. Another one is plasticity. Plasticity is the property of not regaining its shape after the removal of external force, permanently changing its shape. That property is called as plasticity. And I have given you example of plastic bodies. Putty and wet mud are the examples of plastic bodies which cannot regain their original shape. So plasticity is the property of not regaining the original shape after the removal of external force. Losing the shape permanently is called plasticity. Such bodies which can be molded into any desirable shape are called as plastic bodies. Please understand the meaning of plastic bodies. Examples I have written: putty or wet mud, even lambi also. Lambi, you must have seen our carpenter Vasu using this lambi to fix the window panes, glass panes. While fixing the glass panes, he will use that lambi, and along the border he fixes it so that the glass pane will be very nicely fixed into that window wherever it is required in the space, and then once it becomes dry, it will be fixed permanently, it will be fixed firmly, right? So this putty or wet mud or lambi can be used for preparing certain toys or certain materials like wet mud, it is used for preparing pots and all. After the mud becomes dry, it will be having particular shape, right? So this is called plasticity. So in this topic, we are mainly learning elastic behavior of solids. We study elastic behavior of solids. Mainly we are learning elastic behavior of solids. It plays a very important role in our day-to-day life. One must have a proper knowledge of the elastic properties of steel, concrete while constructing a bridge or while constructing a huge building. So the engineer, civil engineer who is designing these bridges or the buildings should have the proper elastic properties of these solids that are being used, mainly the steel and concrete. Similarly, in the design of automobiles and the ropeways, cranes, the proper elastic properties, the elastic properties of the solids, especially elastic properties of the metals, is very, very important. We can ask the questions, can we prepare an aeroplane which is to be very light and at the same time the metal should be very strong, right? Can we prepare the artificial limb which is very light and very strong, which cannot be damaged so easily, which cannot be deformed, which cannot be cracked also? Artificial limb, can we have a lighter one and stronger one? And then why is the shape of railway track is in I shape? Railway track, if you see the cross sectional, it is in this I shape, broader at the bottom and thinner at the top. Why is it in this I shape, right? So answers to all such questions you will come across once we study the elastic behavior of solids. Some materials are brittle, some are very strong. For example, glass is brittle. Glass, when it is just dropped, it is breaking into pieces. So glass is a brittle material, brittle. Glass is brittle. Whereas brass, glass is brittle. Whereas brass is very strong metal. Brass can be elongated into thin wire as well as it can be beaten into thin sheets. Similarly, copper can be also beaten into thin sheets and long wire, copper wires. Similarly, gold is a highly malleable as well as ductile. You know about these properties of metals. Because of this special property of gold, and it's a yellow metal, very attractive and very shining, it can be beaten into very thin wire, thin chain, and can be given any shape, and it can be beaten into thin sheets also, thin strips. That's why gold is very highly costly metal. So we are learning about this elastic behavior of solids in order to gain the knowledge about the building materials, especially concrete, steel, and especially the metals. So in general we can say metals are highly elastic since they can regain their shape easily after the removal of external force. Within their limit, we are discussing within their limit where elasticity is exhibited. But if we apply a very high amount of force, very heavy load, then permanently they will be elongated. So we are discussing what is that limit below which the metals can be highly elastic, regain their shape, and what is that beyond that limit. If we apply any additional force, they can be elongated into thin wire, they can be elongated into wire, and what is that maximum strength beyond which a metal can be broken into pieces. So all this we are going to study. It's a strength, it's a tensile strength, malleability, ductility properties will be understood once we study the elastic behavior of the solids. Now, what is the cause for elastic behavior of the solids? You see, when you study the structure of a solid crystal, in a solid crystal like a metal, the atoms and molecules are very closely packed, and the interatomic distance and intermolecular distance is fixed, and these interatomic molecules, which are there in the neighborhood, they are strongly held together by strong interatomic or intermolecular attractive forces. And these positions of the atoms and molecules in a solid is fixed and they are very closely packed. The intermolecular attractive force is very strong. It doesn't allow the crystal to change its shape so easily. Whenever such solid or crystal or any metal is under external force, then the molecules or the atoms which are there under the action of force will be slightly displaced from their positions. Slightly they will be displaced from their position. As a result, a slight deformation of the solid take place. But after the removal of that external force, external load, these intermolecular attractive forces, interatomic attractive forces, suddenly they act on them and bring them back to their original position, original shape. That's how the solids regain their shape. So these intermolecular and interatomic forces play a very important role in deciding the elastic behavior of the solids. It is just like spring system. Consider that there is a long chain of springs being attached with balls. Consider this is a system of springs being attached with balls. I am just giving you example of linear body like a wire. If one end is fixed, if this end is fixed, suppose you are trying to pull this. When you try to pull this, you see this ball is attached with the adjacent spring and this spring is attached with another ball. As a result, there is a slight elongation as long as there is applied force. As long as there is applied force, elongation takes place. But after the removal of that applied force, what happens? Because of these spring forces, restoring forces of the spring, these balls or the spheres will be again pulled back into their original shape. Same thing happens even in the solids. The atoms and molecules are strongly held by intermolecular or interatomic attractive forces. So after the removal of external force, these interatomic attractive forces act on these molecules. So suddenly the molecules regain their shape, molecules regain their original position. The molecules will be again coming back to their original positions, original fixed positions, and thus the solids regain their shape. It was first explained by Robert Hooke. We are going to learn Hooke's law in the 17th century. With the help of, he did so many experiments with the help of springs. You see, if this is a spring, if it is attached with a load, as a result of this weight of the load, the spring gets elongated. The spring gets elongated, right? But we are attaching that amount of load for which the spring can regain its original shape, not so heavy load, within its limit. Within the limit of spring, we are attaching a load. So when the external force is applied to this load, there is a restoring force that is developed in the spring. This restoring force is in the exact opposite direction of the applied force towards the rigid support. So this restoring force plays a very important role in regaining the original shape or original size of the solids, right? So this restoring force which is developed in the spring is directly proportional to the load that is applied. Directly proportional to load that is applied. More the load that is applied, more is the restoring force within its limit. As a result of this external load, there is an elongation in the spring. So elongation in the spring is directly proportional to the applied force. This is quite common experience. Elongation in the spring is directly proportional to applied force. And restoring force is directly proportional to the external force. Thus, we can connect the restoring force developed in the spring to the elongation. So, elongation in the spring, or indirectly, I can say the restoring force. This is called restoring force. This restoring force we also call it as spring force. This spring force is directly proportional to elongation. Spring force is directly proportional to elongation. More the elongation, more is the restoring force produced in the spring. This is the common experience. So with such experiments on spring, Robert Hooke formulated a law that is applicable for the solids, and that decides the elastic behavior of solids. So in the next video, we are going to learn about the stress and strain. What is the meaning of stress and what is the meaning of strain? Thank you. Have a nice day.